Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Adam and we're continuing in building the sim in this series. Thank you for joining me. If you're new to this channel, if you're watching this for the first time, there is some free goodies in the description box below. Help yourself, and at the end of this video there's some more awesome playlists at the top to check out. What are we doing today? I'm rebuilding my sim, and in the previous episode we just put it on ORBX. In fact, I think I've just pretty much downloaded quite a lot of my ORBX account. I've still got a lot more to go. There's a lot of airports, but the main sceneries are now in there, as we showed in the last episode. And in this episode we're going to be showing the Crispell's night lighting, the complete packages that I have for that, which are the base package, the vector for bridges, the extended lights, the stargazer, and the blue marble packages. And we'll be going back to the same location we did in the previous episode, so we can see the difference between sort of P3D default and what Crispell will give us. And then at the end of this, we're going to have a look at the add-on XML, and we're going to insert a few sceneries, namely the MegaScenery sceneries, and we're going to see how they perform as well. So let's get straight into it. Let's get into the sim. Okay, so we're loading into the sim now. The parameters from the previous episode are exactly the same. We're loading at the same airport using the same plane, a very similar time of day, and the ORBX landscape is still in there, still in effect, and we're going to see what it is. Now, you're not going to see much difference during the day. It's pretty much going to look similar. But then when we start to preview the night, that's when we're going to see a big difference. So let's check it out. Okay, so here we are. Let's get into our plane, and let's take this sucker to the air. Now, I can already see that not much difference, to be honest. Not much change from as we're taking off than it was in the last video. Got ORBX buildings there, the trees, a few scattered objects here and there. But when we take to the air, I think we will notice a bit more of a difference. Let's do a turn over here than we did last time. Still looking gorgeous, still looking very nice. Very nice sharp details down there, nicely defined. I'm really enjoying the view. It's gorgeous. Don't want to crash here. Right, so let's take it up to 10,000. Right, so having a look outside, pretty much as it was. I mean, there is slight differences here than there was before, between blue marble and black marble and ORBX global base. The vector as well, you can see the difference between Crispell and what ORBX do. This road here is a Crispell road, and these little veiny ones are the ORBX ones, so you can see a big difference. These stand out a lot more than these do. Excuse me. Right, let's see what it looks like on the night time. Preview this sucker up. Boom. Right, so I'm not expecting a major difference here, but there you can see the Crispell's stargazer in effect there, with the twinkling of the lights and everything, looking all right. So as we flick around now, I think going over the main town area, I can see a bit of a difference. Now, of course, I haven't got my profile set to Crispell, like the black marble. I actually do use a completely different profile, which we will flick to in a second. And all it does is, you know, because at nighttime you can't really see great detail, so it reduces a lot of settings in the night sky. But as you can see, there is a massive difference in the lighting for the roads. Look at them brilliant orangey, you know, highway, motorway, whatever you want to call them, roads down there. They glow so much more realistically than what P3D default is. And just looking over here, it looks a lot better in terms of the lighting. I mean, look at that. And to be honest, you can see the performance. I mean, we're in time preview mode. I haven't configured the thingy. In fact, if we just give it a little pause here, and actually, I don't want to pause while I do this, but if I go into my graphics now and just sort of memorize what it looked like just then, and we put in our, where is it, black marble, nighttime, and it'll reload. I don't know if this is going to work with time preview mode. I just realized that. I don't know if that should have been on or not, but we'll soon find out. And we'll come back when it's loaded. So if we just go turn back around, see if we can do this without crashing. So as you can see, very little difference to the actual night lighting itself with these new settings. And again, these settings are basically designed for performance, to keep that performance at 30, even though we're using a night lighting system which far exceeds, I feel, what it looks like. Now, I haven't even actually got the full scope of these lights available at the moment. This is just like, we've just gone from day to night, and again, we haven't fully put in all the goodness of the nighttime. And I just wanted to, I wanted to do this to show you the difference, really. So let's climb up a little bit more so we can see this now. And we're going to restart the sim once I've activated a special feature within the Chris Bell's package. And as you can see, yeah, much better night lighting system down there as opposed to the default. And the daytime, beautiful. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. And we still got the 30 frames. Right, so we'll exit out of that. And then come down once this clears. Gotta wait for it to unload completely before going to the next stage. There we go. Load up the manager. And activate the night boost. There we go. And then also make sure extended lights is actually on, which is in program data. Extended lights, the lights manager, and make sure this is actually on. Yes, great. Right, so here we are back in the sim at the same location. Let's get up to that same point now. We loaded in the night profile. As you can see, look at that beautiful sky there from Stargazer. Okay, so we've pretty much come back at the same spot that we were at before. And as you can see, the night lighting does extend off far into the distance, like really far into the distance. And all around us, you can pretty much see the gorgeous night lighting by black marble. And the good thing about black marble, the one thing I really like about black marble, is that it gives you the tools to really customize the night lighting and use the add-on to benefit your sim, you know, in every way. Usually, sort of third-party add-ons, what they'll do is they'll give you dumbed down ways to control the add-on with tick boxes where you just untick certain things or you tick certain things, and there is a small aspect to that within Black Marble, but the majority of the customization that you can do within Black Marble is where you're actually editing the core values of the add-on itself, which means you can create unlimited possibilities in the sim. In fact, there is a video, and I'm going to put it in the card system above and in the description below, where I go through and I show you exactly how to edit the Black Marble manager and to customize the sim in any which way you want, to benefit your sim or the visuals, you know. Now again, we're pretty high here. We're at well, we've come down a little bit to 11,000 feet, and the night lighting extends far off into the distance, but we aren't running like high quality textures across the board. If we have a look at the settings, they're not actually like that insanely high. So I'm only running medium resolution textures here, which on a 1080p display is absolutely fine. The anthropic filtering is only at 4. There's no AA or FXAA. VSync is off and limited frames, and the sliders are really right far down. You know, there's no vegetation sliders, very little buildings, scenery complexity to a minimum. You know, obviously water detail and shadows completely all turned off. You don't really get that, you know, great shadow at night time. So a lot of this is to save the performance. There we go. So to be honest, usually when I'm running this, it does come right up to about 28 to 30 frames per second. I think it's mainly because I loaded it on top of the previous one, which is why it's a bit more, you know, 24-ish, but usually, yeah, this is absolutely fine. And looks gorgeous, you know, look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. Cannot fault it one bit. And if we go in for a closer look down to the detail level, let's have a look. I mean, yeah, really gorgeous.
Low altitude.
You can see all the pinpoints of light. Really gorgeous looking. I mean, you could literally see the telegraph poles, you know. And the sort of stuttering that you're seeing isn't really anything to do with the product. It's more just the loading of the sim, I think. If I loaded it again, it'd be fine. So yeah, so that's basically the night lighting system from Black Marble. Really nice, love it. So in the next, when we come back into the sim, I'm going to have installed my PTA and shaders and a couple of other items as well that will also enhance the visual look. We're not getting into the weather just yet, but I will also be installing the FS Global mesh for the landscape in a future episode. But for now, let's take a look at some XML work. As you can see, a lot of my ORBX stuff has been installed. That is going nice. And one thing I'm looking to do is install a lot of other stuff using an XML route. Now, I haven't decided exactly how it's going to be done, but I have started to import some stuff already, namely the MegaScenery items. So I had, as you saw in the previous episode, a full list of MegaScenery products there, and I've now popped them in here. So these are the actual files, and you can go into and see it, of the MegaScenery add-ons. and they're all in my P3D add-ons on my D drive, just there. And I've put them all under scenery because they are scenery items. They're not airports. They're not aircraft, clearly. And they're not cities or anything like that. They're complete states. So for me, they're scenery. Now, what I've begun to do is create, in this folder here, a carbon copy of exactly what we see here. A carbon copy of it down here. Except it has the number 5 in front of it, which I don't think these ones do, which it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The name of these folders doesn't really relate to the name of these folders. This folder name is just for me. It could be anything. But I've started to pop in the add-on XML file. So if we have a look at this, I mean, all it contains is the scenery, because all the directory contains, if we go to which one is this, Arizona, it only contains a scenery file, and that's it. These are just text documents. There's nothing in them. It's just to say that I installed it. I probably can delete these. I just haven't. So in my scenery folder in Arizona version 3 is my scenery of all my BGL files. Okay. And that's what basically this says. This says Arizona version 3. It's photoreal tiles. It's a scenery folder within it. And that's the location where it can be found. Okay, so I realized that I should be using Florida as an example. So in the Florida folder, I've got my add-on XML, which basically states where everything sits, exactly like it was in the Arizona. And we move that across. We pop that in here. And now that it's sitting in my documents, my P3D4 add-ons, my simulator is going to go, you've got an add-on you want to run. Okay, fair enough. Do you wish to run it? And I'm going to say yes. And then when we get in to the sim, it's now just going to load from this directory here where it actually sits. It's now loading into the actual the simulator. Okay, so we're back in. We're going to take off exactly where we did when we were with ORBX, but the main difference this time is I do actually have a profile specifically for MegaScenery Earth products, and it loads things in a certain way, and we're going to activate that one. And if we go into add-ons, we're going to be unchecking a few things because we don't actually need, now that we've got Florida X in there, we don't actually need the land class or well, that's it really. We can keep trees, buildings in, they probably won't show. The libraries can get kept in, especially with the object flow too, and the airport. But that's it, that's the only thing there. So we're going to okay that and then go into my scenery, and we're going to unload the blue marble and black marble objects because I don't think they're going to show on top of the MegaScenery Earth. They're not configured to show up on top of photoreal textures. So, and if we scroll down, we should have pretty much no global base either. No North American land class or Europe. I don't know even why Europe's selected there. That was weird. Because the photoreal texture, it basically is self-contained for everything. It basically is a complete layer of skin over your simulator. So no fields are going to be showing from ORBX. No landscape will be showing through. It's all going to be the photoreal tiles. Now, one could say, well, you know, photoreal is sitting on top. Why don't you just leave those boxes, ticked? Because they're not going to show through anyway if it's sitting on top. And you can do that, but I feel that it doesn't need to be loaded into the sim world for it to be displayed. You're just wasting performance. You might as well, or load time. So you might as well just have it, loading in. Now, a lot of the time when it loads in, it looks a little bit, it's like, whoa, where's this lake come from? Am I in the air? And a lot of the time, I just wait a while, and it does come in. You know, it will actually zoom in into place. Here it comes in now. So just bear with it for a moment, because it's still got to load those tiles in. And you could help it by coming out of the sim and going back into the sim, but it's like, what's the point? It's going to load anyway. Might as well just wait. And by this time you're sat at the airport. Usually you're not sat on the runway waiting to take off. You're at the airport. You're going through your checklists. You're doing your things, and in the meantime, this is happening in the world around you. So it will load in fine in a second. What we can do actually is we can just take off now, and it'll sort of sort itself out. Now, one thing I also recommend is anytime you change, like add or remove things in the scenery library, and I don't know if it includes add-ons as well, but refresh your elevation tool if you use an ORBX vector, or if you're using black marble like I am, refresh your settings and your index list as well every time you add or remove items in your scenery library. I think it helps to keep it a little bit cleaner and run smoothly. So let's get up to 10,000 feet, because these textures look awesome at 10,000 feet. And then we can now begin to turn, and it should now be fully loaded in. It's still loading in, as you can see. It's still sharpening up, but we're at the right height, and there it is, there, fully loaded in now, looking gorgeous. And I mean, you know, ORBX does a good job at replicating this, but this is actually satellite data. So, I mean, this is as close to Microsoft 2020 as you're going to get, guys. It really is. But all this that you see is MegaScenery Earth, and you can see the difference between ORBX, you know, in the previous bit of this video. Here we go. And there's ORBX there. That looks amazing. Perfect. And MegaScenery Earth, like right now, you know, you're looking at actual information, you know, not a representation, but actual satellite data. So right down there are the real buildings. You know, that is a real golf course by the looks of it. Let's get a bit closer, shall we? How low can you go until it begins to break up? So obviously these roads here are those roads that we saw in our night lighting. And unfortunately, MegaScenery Earth, it only ever includes the summer textures. There's never winter textures, which is a shame. But at the end of the day, if you want to fly winter, go into ORBX land. Now I can begin to see it start to break up a little bit. But to be honest, we're really quite low here. Look at that. We're about 1,000 feet off the ground, and look at that, still as sharp as ever. I mean, you see people's pools. Look at that. Gorgeous, you know. And we're still descending, like 900 feet off the ground, and it still looks amazing. Look at that. And performs better, you know. This photoreal scenery performs a lot better in your sim. I mean, look at that, guys. Look at that. Just look at this. You can see people's pools. Yeah, the road. It's very quite clear, I feel. Even though, you know, I mean, and obviously that stands out a lot. But we're 1,200 feet off the ground, and that's the actual photograph of this area. It's not a representation from CGI models, you know. I love flying over photoreal terrain. I think it's amazing. These trees look a little bit like the ones from ORBX. And you can even see the cars in the highway there. Look at that. So yeah. So as you can see, basically, as you can see, the add-on XML route does work. It loads it in just fine, and it loads it in a little bit quicker, I feel, than it does if you have to do it through your scenery library as normal. I don't know why, but it felt like it was quicker. Maybe it wasn't, I don't know. So let's exit out of this now. Actually, we're going to exit back to the graphics, and I'm going to just... Actually, no, I'm not going to do that now. We're going to exit out, yeah. Leave here, exit out. And one thing, as I say, I like to do when you know, put things in your scenery library or you take things out is run the black marble if you have it, or the ORBX manager. That actually shouldn't have been activated. And rebuild your index and refresh your settings and flush your DirectX. I'm not going to do it now, but it is important to do that. In fact, I will actually just do that though, to apply the, or unapply the night boost. It is important to do that to rewrite your index files in your sim to keep it nice and smooth, nice and clean, and so it doesn't clutter up and cause either non-starts where the sim won't start, or complete cock up of all your files, and you get black textures, you get missing textures, you get night for day, you get all sorts of glitches in the matrix. It just helps to, it's good housekeeping at the end of the day. So that's basically, I've now got to go through this complete list, and I've put XMLs in, but I haven't actually written them off. And the writing of them is so easy. So, in fact, we'll do one now. I've taken a generic XML. So the next one down is Illinois. So this is the generic one here, which was Florida, which is the first one I did. And this is the Florida one. So basically, all I have to do is, in the directory of where this is, take the name, which is, I've kept the same name here, which is just Illinois, not the 5. That's got nothing to do with this one here. This doesn't have a 5 in front, so it's that name I take. And basically, I replace the name. And if you're using this Visual Code Studio, it's even easier, because you right-click and go change all occurrences, and it'll change the name on everywhere that it is displayed. And I paste, and there we go. I can now just save that. Florida is still Florida. Yep, great. Exit out of that. Yeah, save that. And here we have this one. Let me just exit out and go back in just to be sure. So, where are we? The directory for Illinois. And this should say Illinois. Illinois, 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 Illinois. And that's exactly where it is. So now if I was to put this in documents and load up the sim, it would say, hey, do you want to enable Illinois? And Illinois would be there. Now, once I've flown where I want to fly, and I'm not going to go back, I can just delete that off, knowing that I've still got it in my directory here. Because, I mean, these files, they're like not even a megabyte. They're 407 bytes of information. So moving like a load of them across takes seconds, as you can see, you know, because, I mean, look, all of them only equal to probably, like, look at that, not even a megabyte, 4.76 kilobytes. And then when you finish with them, delete them, and they're gone. And the sim no longer reads this as anything in here, because it's all in here. So it is really easy. I'm still learning how to do things like complicated scenery. But using ORBX as a guide, you know, because they do this already with their add-ons. So if we go into a random one like the land class here, and we look at their add-on XML, it's got loads of entries here, and I mean, that's just, whoa, look at that. That is, you know, but it's all based off what's in here, in these folders here. They're just detailing what goes in and where they go in with what layer. And I think that's why it works for them. And they don't have any glitches because they've actually layered all their stuff as if it would be in the scenery library, but they're using this route to do it in. I'm still learning myself, so but that's basically how you create for the MegaScenery products, or for any scenery item that just has scenery in it, like here, this, and no textures. This just has the scenery photoreal stuff. There's no actual textures in here. Then that's as easy as that. I mean, I created a template for one, and then I've copied it to every single directory, which I used Florida as my directory, my template, sorry. That's why it says Florida here, okay? In the Gulf states, you know. And then all I got to do is now go along and add in the file name for every occurrence of where it said Florida 4X. And then now this one works for this. And that's just, all I got to do is go down the list here and do that. So Indiana, I get the name. Do one more. Copy the name of the file, which is what the file is in this folder. It's just Indiana. Go into there, open up the file. And then because I used Florida 4X as a template for all of them, I just change the Florida name, change all occurrences to whatever one I'm doing at the time, which is this case, Indiana. Save it, boom, and it's done. That's it. Easy. Right, in the next episode, we're going to be loading some more stuff into the sim. We're going to be playing around with PTA. We're going to be throwing some other goodies. It's going to be a surprise, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching this. Don't forget, if you want to learn how to install Black Marble as well as play with it correctly to create whatever night lighting system you want, check out the videos in the top, and I'll see you next time, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.